Hello, hello, hello. Just going to wait for a few people to arrive. And I'm going to go grab something. Hi. So, do you know what I realized today? Not even today, but what I realized is one of the most valuable things in the world. Firstly, hello, I'm Gurpreet, and this is Intuitive Knowledge, the podcast. Here we help you build faith and apply it more practically. There's so much confusion around faith, and it really doesn't have to be that complicated. Hello, hello. It really isn't complicated to begin to have faith. And so I'm devising and coming up with as many ways that I can to make the whole process and journey that much simpler. So much so, I have a method called the Simpler Method. So if you want to know more about that, I'll tell you about that at the end. But we help you build faith, right? We help you transform your mindset, switch your perspective so that you can begin to attract your best life. And I talk about this stuff with such passion, such love, because over the past 5 years, this is exactly what I have done. I have completely changed my life over the last 5 years by applying this stuff. And the journey was not, it was not like this. It was very much like, there was a lot of that. So it wasn't a straight journey. And what I am doing with Intuitive Knowledge is bringing to you as much information as I can that I believe will be helpful for your journey. Because ultimately, I want to break away from this idea that outside controls us. We need to begin to understand who we are, what we are, and just how much control we actually really do have over our lives. And so that's the work that I want to do with Intuitive Knowledge, and that's what I do. So if you want to know more about us, check us out on social media at intuitive.knowledge. I'm most active on Instagram. We are changing that. And so if you want to find out what we're doing, that's the best place to catch me. We also have something called the Simpler Method, which is the 7 fundamental steps to begin to change your life. So I'm just going to get that out of the way right now so that I can talk to you about this. This is the most valuable thing. I say this about everything, right? That this is the most valuable thing that I've learned. But I believe that all of it's valuable, clearly, because it's changed my life. Let me tell you how it changed my life super quick. I gave up antidepressants 5 years ago after 15 years. After 15 years, multiple miscarriages. Multiple. I had 5, and then I volunteered to have a hysterectomy because whilst I didn't know it at the time, I just didn't think that I was good enough to be a mum. And so I was creating all of this in my world. And that's why I talk about this with such passion and almost authority, because I know that place, that deep, dark place where you want to just not do the stuff anymore. And you just want to either feel better or end it. That was it. That was where I was 5 years ago. And I had a chance conversation with my brother about me not wanting to keep living anymore. And we had a conversation about universal principles, about God, about how the brain works, about growth mindset, about all of these things. And fundamentally, what we spoke about was gratitude. We spoke about gratitude, and it changed my world. And so what I want to talk about, why gratitude and all of those things are so valuable. I feel like I'm really dark. Let's see if that helps any. Probably not, but we'll go with it. So what I've understood that gratitude has done is unlock the self-love thing or the self-love switch that we have all turned off. We've turned off this connection that we have to the universe and access to it, because we haven't been taught about how we work. We haven't been taught about the value of what we are. We haven't, sorry about this. We haven't been taught about how our minds work. We haven't been taught about the value of self-love. We've been taught about the value of sacrificing ourselves for others. We've been taught about the value of, oh, I know what's wrong. Sorry, I've just figured out what's wrong. It's because I've switched out my stools. No one taught us the value of learning to love ourselves. And so I'm going to come at this from a slightly different angle when it comes to self-love. And I've also made tons of notes so that I do not forget the most valuable stuff. But here's the thing about self-love. We've been taught, especially in our culture, we've actually been taught to hate ourselves. That's a gift that the colonialism nonsense left with us. It taught us to hate ourselves. It taught us to dislike ourselves, and taught us that people that looked like us do not achieve much. And that's very, very untrue, especially when you look at the history that we come from, when you look at what it is that our lands actually give to the world. So that's where I'm going to park that one. But I want to talk about this so much, because it is life-changing. Anyway, so let's just get right into it. Why practice self-love? Firstly, you can't give what you do not have. If you don't love yourself, you're always going to be looking for somebody else to fill that need within you. I talk about this with such certainty because, and I always go back to my relationship with my husband, because on paper, this guy is phenomenal. On paper, this guy is amazing. And that ticked me off, because I still couldn't understand why this guy that ticks all those boxes is not making what's going on inside me just go away like he used to be able to. Because ultimately, nobody is going to be able to love us like we need to love ourselves, because the relationship that we have with ourselves is the most valuable, most important. And no one teaches us this. And like I said, we've been taught to dislike ourselves, to manage a certain agenda that the richest people in our world right now have. And so learning to love yourself will ultimately, yes, it will change you. But what's going to happen is, as it raises your frequency, because love is an actual frequency, it's like turning a dial up on a radio. Learning to love yourself raises you, but then spills out and raises those around you. It spills out and it changes those around you. I know it because I see it happen. I do this. This is why we do what we do. The same way a bad mood spills out onto our people, the same way love winds up spilling out onto our people. And we're less likely, when we begin to love ourselves, expect other people to love us. Because my husband did everything he could. But I always found something, and a lot of this goes to the way that we're brought up, the relationship we have with our families, all of those things, and therapy and all of those things. Again, I'll tell you a little bit about therapy, but learning, you're less likely to need somebody to do that for you. I was getting more and more frustrated at the fact that he was not able to just keep checking those boxes, because he was still doing all the things, but my goalposts kept changing because I didn't know who I was and what it was that I wanted. So enter into a relationship with yourself, date yourself. Let me tell you about dating yourself super quick. Today, I took Huddy for a walk. Huddy is my 2-year-old, nearly 3-year-old Staffordshire Bull Terrier. Wow, he's going to be 3 next month. Anyway, so I took him out for a walk and I came back and I started doing some work, and I really fancied going out for lunch by myself because I really enjoy doing that. I take myself out on dates. And it is because I love to sit with myself, get to know myself. What is going on with me right now? How do I feel right now? Has something irked me? Is everything okay? Do I need to check in anywhere? Is my energy being wasted anywhere? What is it that I want to achieve next week? What is it that I want to achieve over there? So I sit and I do that. Dating myself. I do not care what people might think about me eating by myself or going to the movies by myself. I will gladly do that, because what other people think of me isn't my concern. Neither is it any of my business. What I think of me is my business. So learning to love yourself is valuable, because you are the person you have the most dealings with. You're the person you have the biggest relationship with. So there's that. Here's what happens when you learn to love yourself. When you learn to love yourself, you actually connect to the deepest, most perfect part of you. You connect with source. You connect with God. You can call it the universe. You can call it whatever you want to call it. When you learn to love yourself, you learn to connect with the most exquisite part of yourself. And it's the part of us that Western society mainly has taught us to ignore. It's taught us that talking about God and spirituality and connecting with source is woo-woo. And that's why you hear people talk, they kind of put a disclaimer, they put woo-woo before everything. But here's the thing, it's not woo-woo to those of us that come from it, right? So the Western world has taught us to ignore that part of us and then to disclaim it a little bit before we enter into it. And that doesn't compute well with the mind, or the soul rather, because the soul knows what we are. And so by connecting to this deeper part of you through self-love, through acts of self-love, you stop trying to need to be perfect, because you're connected to the perfection within you. You stop trying to need to be perfect because you've tapped into the perfection within you. And you understand that at the very core of you, you are whole and complete just as you are. I went through life thinking that I wasn't. I went through life thinking I wasn't good enough. And so when you start to love yourself, suddenly you realize you were good enough all along, because it was you and God all along. So self-love this is really huge, you guys. It's life-changing stuff. This isn't really working, is it? Light situation. Am I going to have to sit like this the whole time? Let's see. Let me push you back a little bit. See whether that works. And so then let's have a look. What else? So what does self-love actually look like? Oh, something else I want to say about self-love super quick. We've been taught to feel guilty about choosing ourselves. We've been taught to feel like self-love is selfish, and it isn't. It really isn't. Like I said at the beginning of this video or this podcast, that when we love ourselves, we are ultimately affecting those around us. We're raising the vibe around us because it spills out. So just the same way a bad mood ripples out over our people and over the stuff that we're doing, and we carry that energy with whatever it is that we're choosing to do, the same way when we choose ourselves and we value this relationship with ourselves, well, that spills out onto everyone as well. And it's honestly the most valuable thing you'll ever do, learning to love yourself. Truly, take my word for it. So anyway, what does self-love look like? Taking a break. Releasing the guilt for taking a break. Take a break. If you need to take a break, take a break. Press pause on whatever it is that you're doing. Press pause on whatever it is. If it's really important, you'll go back to it, but press pause on it and just go back to it. But take a break. Practice taking a break, but also practice having active times while doing the things that need to be done. Self-love looks like forgiving yourself for doing the things you did when you didn't know better. When we know better, we do better. And if we don't, we need to work on that. That's our responsibility, to do better when we know better. But you can't beat yourself up for not knowing what you didn't know. By the same token, my friends, we have to forgive those that didn't know better or didn't do better when they knew better. Forgive them, move on. You don't need to carry that stuff with you. That's not your burden to carry. That's not to say the past didn't happen. That's to say that you don't need to carry it with you. It's not happening right now. The only moment that exists is right now. The past isn't happening. The future isn't happening. This right now, this is what's happening. And we have to choose to let go of the past and choose to move forward. It's a choice. It's a choice and it's a practice. It's a practice to keep on choosing. It takes work. Like I said, it doesn't go like this. It goes like this. And there's a lot of smiles and there's a lot of tears. There's a lot of, oh man, I don't want to do this anymore. And there is a lot of that. There really, really, really is. But there's also a lot of joy where as you're ascending, you realize that, hey, I don't need to carry all of this that's holding me down here. I can actually begin to climb. I can connect to something bigger than me. It will change me. I'm going to have to change me to see that it changes me, but I can choose to change me. I'm telling you, it's liberating. It really, really is. It's the most freeing thing you'll ever do is learning to love yourself. Forgive others for not doing better when they knew. Meditation. We talk about this so much because it's ultimately the most valuable thing that you can give yourself in your day. Stop, take 5 minutes. Look, you don't need to meditate for 20 hours a day. You can meditate for as long or as less time as you want. Sorry, I went in my own head about where I go to meditate then. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to meditate for hours. You don't have to do any of that, but do meditate. You can meditate for 5 minutes. You can't say that you want to feel great and then not take time to connect with the deepest, truest, most perfect part of you. Our phones require us to close down the apps. Our phones require us to charge every day. Our phones require a software update every other week, it seems like. Our minds are the same. Our phones are based on the mind. The mind is where it all was created in the first place. So taking time to meditate allows you to close down all the apps, all the noise that's going on in your head. It allows you to hit recharge. Do that for yourself and notice what it does for you. And then on the opposite side of that, you might actually want to whack on some music super loud and have a dance. I do that quite often, not as much as I used to. I choose to go meditate instead, but I do still do that. And right now I'm obsessed with Alicia Keys' new album. If you haven't listened to it, you probably should. It's definitely of a woman that's coming of age. Obsessed with it. Also, J. Cole talks a lot about meditation. I have been listening to a lot of J. Cole this week. But yeah, you might want to just do that. And it might be exactly what you need. So do it. Whatever it is that you need to do to feel better, to feel good, do it. Do the thing that makes you feel good. No question. Just do it. So long as it's not hurting or harming anybody else, do the thing. Here, personal development. As you can see, I'm obsessed. This is how I changed my life. Personal development is one of the most self-loving things you'll do because you will elevate what's going on in here. You won't be stuck in the past. You'll be able to press pause and you'll be able to see that you can just you don't even need to press pause anymore. You can just go back and record over the whole thing. Just as you want to. Not because you want to change the past, but because you don't need to keep on replaying it. You know what happened. You know exactly how it happened. And now you can just go on ahead. Or you think you know exactly how it happened. And then you can re-record over the whole thing and start living your life from where you are right now and where you want to go. Personal development allows you to do that. It allows you to know who you are. It's the best form of therapy, because therapy takes you backwards, and it's good to know how you got to where you are. But therapy is about going backwards over and over. Coaching and mentoring is about going forwards. It's about, where do you want to go? Okay, I get all of that happen, but where is it that you want to go? And then begin to take the steps to begin to go. But that's not to berate therapy. Therapy is essential to know yourself a little bit, to know how you got here, to know that the way you are, the way you respond, the way you might react to stuff right now, there's a reason for it. It helps you to get to know yourself. So get some therapy, but also get coaching, or get a coach that knows therapy. Get a coach that knows their stuff. That's what I did, and it's changed my life. So personal development allows you to connect to yourself at a deeper level. It's not just therapy or coaching or mentoring, by the way. Go read books, go listen to podcasts, I right now, I'm obsessed with podcasts, like over and over and over. I'm listening to all my coaching materials again right now. I'm loving Michael Neal right now, because he just floats my boat, because he knows what he's talking about. I love Wayne Dyer. I could listen to him all day. YouTube that. I listen to scripture. I like all of this. I apply this stuff. I listen to when scripture's talking about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, when it's talking about love, the language. This is personal development. If we're not doing this, we don't know who we are. So that's why give yourself that gift of personal development in whatever form, whatever is taking you from where you are to where you want to go. Update your habits and beliefs. What is it that you believe about yourself? What is it that the world told you to believe about yourself? Question it, press pause on it, and begin to update those deeds. Like, just begin to upgrade what's going on in here. Upgrade who you think you are. You are exceptional. You are an heir to whatever it is, the best that God has to deliver. You're an heir to that. Your spiritual DNA is perfect. And that takes some getting used to and getting to understand. And so that's where the personal development comes in. Learn about yourself so that you can update your beliefs and your habits. And you know that actually, if I have become this way, I'm a habitual being. Human beings are habitual. It means that I've learned to be this way. I can learn to be another way. And I can choose to keep on changing. I can do that. And then remind yourself over and over. And see, when you've learned to do it, you'll just do it over and over. The same way you've learned to not do it. So it's not that you can't do it. Tell yourself you won't do it, and then push yourself to do the thing. And you'll never want to stop. I'm telling you, you'll never want to stop, because it feels so good. Stop trying to be perfect and connect with the perfection within. We've already done that. Here's the next one. We're not taught this in our culture. This is our final one, and then I'm going to let you go. We're not taught this in our culture. Learn to delegate. If you feel like you're carrying way too much in that, like whether it's housework, no matter what it is, whether it's so much in the relationship, whatever it is, if there is too much that you're carrying and you feel like you cannot do the thing, press pause and tell the people around you what you need them to do. As I grow, I have an incredible relationship where I'm able to say, hey, I can't do that thing that I've been doing for however long because I'm working on this now. Can you help me out with this? I know that you work X hours more than me, or in terms of how long you're away from the house, etc., etc. But hey, I need some help. Can you help me with that? Delegate. There's things in my business where I was trying to do everything, then I was getting frustrated because I couldn't learn, and I couldn't be bothered to learn the stuff that I don't want to be doing. Delegate that stuff. Handed that over to the people that knew how and got them to do it. It frees me up to begin to enjoy my wins, enjoy my world, this world that I'm living in, this life that I'm living right now. So they are some of my best tips that I've got for you right now. That's my introduction to self-love. I am going to talk about this as we go on. That's all that I am is a product of learning how to love myself, because I went through life thinking I was unlovable, and I went through life thinking that no one could possibly love me. So yeah, I've done that. And I'm telling you that learning to love yourself is a journey, and it's magnificent. But you've got to give yourself that gift. You have to give yourself that gift to experience the best that God has to offer you. By learning to love yourself, you're tapping into the very best that God placed within you. So if you're being challenged right now, press pause on it, say thank you for it, and then begin to practice some of the things I've spoken about here. Journaling's a really good one as well. I don't like that one. Get it out of you. Press pause on the story. Live your life. Live your life. Give yourself some love. I'm going to go. Stay blessed and well. I'll see you next week.